considerably since COVID,
Mm-hmm.
and they're more than double the new car gross margins. So what is the OEM going to do? They can talk about trying to raise prices, but for most, this is a very competitive market. If they raise prices, they're going to lose market share. And the dealer's margin is much lower. I mean, they have a lot to work with, these OEMs, to effectively reduce their margin a bit and also become more efficient in their operations. So I do think the dealer will continue to do quite well, even with the tariff situation as it is. And it could be one of those situations again where we're making really good money as an industry, and that's always good for the buy-sell market.
So from your standpoint, really no change to blue sky values?
Yeah, no, the blue sky values, what we've seen is, and if in our report, we produced it a few weeks ago,
Mm-hmm.
so we had even less clarity on what was going on with tariffs. We made no changes to multiples because that's what we're seeing, no changes to multiples.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, certain franchises have a lot of exposure if there is a big tariff, like, for instance, Mazda, which has almost no production in the U.S., and doesn't have the kind of financial bench to build a big capacity in the U.S.
Right.
They're in a trickier situation. They can't raise their prices because if their competitors don't, because they'll lose tremendous market share. They're in a super competitive segment. So Mazda's in a little bit of a sticky situation, but we chose not to adjust any of our multiples until we have clarity. There's no point. And we're not seeing... Frankly, we see the dealer and the buyers quite confident that this is all gonna get figured out. So we're really not seeing dramatic changes in the multiples, and earnings were relatively flat. So we aren't seeing a change in the blue sky. We have our Kerrigan Blue Sky Index, which remains about 70% higher on average than pre-pandemic.
Wow, that's still strong. That's incredible. What are the deals that are getting done today?
Well, as I said, a lot of single point deals. So
Okay.
a lot more, single dealers are selling off. We're seeing a lot of divestitures by the publics when they're doing these big deals. We do see them divest also of just markets that they don't feel they can grow to the level that they want to grow, or it's not the right market for them. The publics and the privates are divesting of certain markets, which gives others a lot of opportunity.
Sure.
We are definitely seeing from a buy side, we are seeing buyers being more selective. And what we see is that the name of the game right now is regional market share and owning your market. And we think we're in the beginning innings of that consolidation trend. And I think in the next 10 years, the major regions and the major metros are going to be highly consolidated. You will have very few single point dealers in a major city like Tampa. We sold Tampa Toyota. It was the only Toyota store not owned by a top 20 group.
Wow.
And that was just a single store. So, the Tampa Toyotas of the world are going to be sold in the next 10 years. I think major metros are going to be highly consolidated. And so what we're seeing is buyers are very much focused on filling out their platforms in whatever markets they're operating in, especially with the top franchises or those that they don't already own.
Sure.
So,
how are things? What are you hearing about Nissan and Stellantis stores? Obviously, Nissan's got new leadership, turning things around. I had the pleasure of interviewing the vice president of sales and marketing for Nissan. Came from Toyota. Actually, came back to Nissan after many years of being